The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wider than most cities. Representatives from 47 different species sat in their specially designed seats. Some floated in water tanks. Others rested on heated rocks. A few hung from the ceiling. Today, every single one of them stared at the main screen with fear in their various types of eyes. The distress signal played again. A Zelathi child's voice crying for help echoed through the translator systems. Behind the child, explosions and screams painted a clear picture of horror. Please, someone, anyone. They are killing everyone. The Devourers are here. My mother says no one will come, but I know someone will. Please, we have children. We have families. Please help us. The transmission cut to static. Council leader Vorthak, a tall creature with blue scales and 4 arms, stood up slowly. His voice sounded tired when he spoke. The Zelathi homeworld is under attack by the Devourers. As we all know, the Devourers consume everything. They strip planets bare of all life. They take all resources. They leave nothing but dead rock behind. A representative from the Sakari delegation raised one of her 6 hands. How long do the Zelathi have? Our estimates suggest 72 hours before the planet becomes completely lifeless, Vorthak answered. The Devourers have already landed their harvest ships. They have begun the consumption process. Silence fell over the chamber. Everyone knew what this meant. The Zelathi would join the list of 17 other species that the Devourers had completely destroyed over the last 1,000 years. Can we send help? Asked a small furry representative from the Mokari systems. Vorthak pulled up a star map on the main screen. The Zelathi homeworld is 78 light-years from our nearest fleet. Even at maximum speed, our ships would take 2 weeks to arrive. By then, there will be nothing left to save. What about the warrior coalition? Someone suggested. The Kreks have the fastest ships. The Kreks representative, a massive insect-like being, clicked his mandibles. Even our fastest vessels would take 9 days. The Zelathi will be extinct long before we arrive. More silence. Several representatives looked away from the screen. They could not bear to watch another species die while they sat powerless to help. Then a voice spoke from the back of the chamber. The human 7th Fleet is 12 light-years from the Zelathi homeworld. Every head, tentacle, and sensory organ turned toward the human section. Ambassador Chen stood up from her simple chair. She looked small compared to most of the other species present. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical style. Her brown eyes showed no fear, only determination. You would need to go through the Devil's Corridor, Vorthak said slowly. No ship has ever survived that passage. The gravity wells alone would tear any vessel apart. The radiation storms would cook any crew alive. The asteroid fields move at speeds that make navigation impossible. Chen walked forward to the center of the chamber. How long would it take us to get there through the corridor? If it were possible, which it is not, the journey would take 18 hours, Vorthak answered. But I must repeat, no ship has ever survived. We will go, Chen interrupted. She pulled out a communication device. Captain Rodriguez, prepare the 7th Fleet for immediate departure. We have a rescue mission. The Sakari representative gasped, a sound like wind through broken glass. You cannot be serious. The Devil's Corridor has claimed hundreds of ships. The gravity shifts change every few minutes. The radiation would melt your hull. The asteroids. Ambassador Chen, Vorthak interrupted urgently. I understand humans are brave, some say foolishly so, but this is suicide. Your entire fleet will be destroyed before you travel even halfway through the corridor. Chen smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that made several representatives unconsciously move back in their seats. You call it the Devil's Corridor, she said quietly. We call it Tuesday. She turned back to her communication device. Captain Rodriguez, you heard the mission parameters. A woman's voice came through the speakers, calm and steady. Yes, Ambassador. 7th Fleet ready to depart. We will reach the Zelathi homeworld in 18 hours. That is impossible, shouted the Kreks representative. The physics alone. We evolved on a death world, Chen said simply. Our children play in weather that would kill most of your species. We swim in oceans filled with predators for fun. We climb mountains that have no oxygen at the top because they are there. The Devil's Corridor is dangerous, yes, but humans have a saying, hold my beer and watch this. She started walking toward the exit. If you will excuse me, I need to coordinate with our fleet. We have people to save. Vorthak found his voice. Ambassador Chen, wait. Even if by some miracle you survive the corridor, The Devourers have a fleet of 47 harvest ships. Each one carries thousands of warrior drones. Your 7th fleet has only 15 vessels. Chen stopped at the door and looked back. 15 human vessels. 15 crews who grew up on a world where everything tries to kill you. 15 captains who think extreme sports involve jumping out of perfectly good aircraft with nothing but fabric to slow their fall. She paused. The Devourers have never fought humans before. They are about to learn why the rest of you are secretly afraid of us. After she left, the chamber erupted in discussion. The Mokari representative was running calculations on his pad. It is physically impossible. The gravity wells in the corridor shift between 2 and 37 times standard. No biological creature can survive those forces. Humans are not normal biological creatures, said a quiet voice. It came from the Altani representative, whose species had dealt with humans the longest. I have seen them consume poison for recreation. They call it alcohol. I have watched them purposely injure themselves to build immunity. They call it vaccination. I have observed them running for dozens of miles without rest, not to escape predators or catch prey, but because they find it enjoyable. The main screen changed to show the human 7th fleet. 15 ships hung in space, each one blocky and ungraceful compared to the elegant vessels of other species. They look like they had been built by someone who expected them to be used as battering rams. They are moving, someone whispered. The human ships turned as one unit toward the Devil's Corridor. Their engines flared to life with a brightness that hurt to look at directly. Captain Rodriguez appeared on the communication channel, addressing the council. Galactic Council. This is Captain Sarah Rodriguez of the United Earth 7th Fleet. We have received the distress call from the Zalathi homeworld. We are responding. Expected arrival in 18 hours. Captain, Forthak said urgently. The corridor is a navigational challenge, Rodriguez finished. We have run 17 simulations in the last 3 minutes. We have identified safe passages through 60% of the anomalies. The other 40% we will handle as they come. Handle as they come? Forthak repeated in disbelief. Captain, these are forces that can crush a battleship in seconds. Rodriguez smiled. The expression was strangely similar to Ambassador Chen's earlier smile. Council leader, I respect your concern, but I grew up in Australia. We have spiders that can kill you in minutes, snakes that can kill you in seconds, and drop bears. The Devil's Corridor cannot be worse than a Tuesday in the outback. The communication cut off. The council watched in stunned silence as the human fleet accelerated towards certain death. The ships moved in perfect formation like predators stalking prey. They are all going to die, the Sakari representative whispered. Perhaps, the Altani representative said, but if any species could survive the impossible, it would be the humans. They turned a death world into a garden. They survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that would have ended other species. They went to their moon using computers less powerful than what we use for children's toys. On the screen, the human fleet reached the edge of the Devil's Corridor. They did not slow down. They did not hesitate. They plunged straight into the swirling chaos of gravity wells and radiation storms. The last clear sensor reading showed all 15 ships still in formation, still accelerating, disappearing into conditions that had killed every other ship that had ever tried to pass through. The council chamber remained silent, watching the empty space where the human fleet had vanished. Somewhere 78 light-years away, Zalathi children huddled in shelters as devourers consumed their world. Their only hope now rested with 15 ships full of humans, a species from a death world who called impossible odds Tuesday. Inside the command ship UES Relentless, Captain Sarah Rodriguez stood perfectly still as her ship shook like a toy in a child's angry hands. Around her, the bridge crew worked at their stations as if they were sitting in a calm office, not flying through hell itself. Gravity well increasing to 23 times standard on the port side, announced Lieutenant Kim, sipping coffee from a mug that somehow stayed perfectly level despite the ship rolling violently, compensating with starboard thrusters. Radiation spike incoming, called out another officer while typing with one hand and eating a sandwich with the other. Levels approaching what we would get from, about 300 chest X-rays per second. Tell the crew to put on sunscreen, Rodriguez said with a straight face. Several people chuckled. The ship suddenly dropped what felt like 1,000 feet in half a second. Nobody even grabbed their seats. They just bent their knees slightly and kept working. That was a fun one, commented Marcus, the chief engineer, over the communication system. Reminds me of that roller coaster in Japan. You know, the one that was banned after people kept passing out. Focus, Marcus, Rodriguez said, though she was smiling. How are our engines? Running hot, but nothing we cannot handle. The boys down here are having a competition to see who can manually adjust the fastest when the gravity shifts. Current record is 0.7 seconds. Johnson just won a week's worth of dessert rations. Through the main view screen, the Devil's Corridor looked like someone had taken space itself and put it in a blender. Colors that should not exist swirled around them. Gravity pulled in 3 directions at once. Asteroids the size of cities flew past at speeds that would turn most ships into dust. Asteroid field coming up, the navigation officer announced. Approximately 4,000 objects moving at speeds that the computer just says very fast, because it cannot calculate quickly enough. Rodriguez walked over to the navigation station, her steps steady even as the floor tilted 45 degrees. Show me the pattern. The officer pulled up a display that looked like pure chaos. Rocks spinning, colliding, breaking apart, and reforming in an endless dance of destruction. There. Rodriguez pointed at what looked like empty space. See how that cluster moves? It is creating a wake. We go through there, use the gravity of that big one to slingshot around, then ride the wave from those 3 colliding. Captain, that would put us within 50 meters of a collision, the officer said. 50 meters is plenty of room, Rodriguez replied. I used to race bikes through London traffic. This is just 3-dimensional London traffic that is on fire and trying to kill us. She opened a channel to the fleet. All ships sending navigation path now. Follow my lead. We are going to thread the needle. 15 ships dove into the asteroid field like dolphins playing in waves. They spun, rolled, and danced between rocks that would have crushed them instantly. One ship actually used its hull to bounce off an asteroid, using the impact to change direction faster than its engines could manage. That was showing off. Thunderbolt, Rodriguez said over the communications. Captain Torres from the UES Thunderbolt laughed. My pilot is from New York. She says this is easier than finding parking in Manhattan. They had been in the corridor for 6 hours now. What would kill most species in seconds had become routine for the human crews. They were adapting in real time, learning the patterns, finding the rhythm in the chaos. Oh, heads up, Marcus called from engineering. We have got a really fun gravity well coming. Sensors show it is going to pull us in about 8 different directions at once. How bad? Rodriguez asked. Remember that training exercise where they put us in the centrifuge and kept changing the direction while we tried to perform maintenance? The one where half the class threw up? That one, but about 3 times worse. Rodriguez hit the fleet communication. All ships, major gravity distortion incoming. Everyone remember your training. This is going to feel like being inside a washing machine that is inside another washing machine that is falling off a cliff. The distortion hit them like a giant invisible hand trying to pull the ships apart. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. In any other fleet, crews would be screaming, panicking, probably dying. On the human ship, someone started singing. Is someone singing Bohemian Rhapsody? Rodriguez asked. That would be the Crimson Dawn, came the response. Their crew says it helps with the timing of the gravity shifts. Soon, all 15 ships had joined in. Hundreds of humans flying through impossible conditions that would terrify any sane species were singing a 6-minute rock opera while manually adjusting their ships to survive forces that should not exist. The Galactic Council, still watching through long-range sensors, could not believe what they were seeing. Not only were all 15 ships still intact, but the humans seemed to be enjoying themselves. On the Relentless, a young ensign who had just joined the crew was looking a bit green. Rodriguez walked over to him. First time through a Class 9 anomaly? Yes, Captain. I am trying not to throw up. Throwing up is fine, Ensign. Half the bridge crew lost their lunch their first time. The trick is to aim for the bucket and keep working while you do it. The ensign managed a weak smile. How are you all so calm? Rodriguez thought for a moment. Ensign, where are you from? Chicago, Captain. Ever driven in Chicago during a blizzard? Yes, Captain. This is just like that, except in 3 dimensions and the other drivers are asteroids. Once you realize that, it becomes manageable. 12 hours in, they were deeper in the corridor than any ship had ever gone and survived. The conditions had gotten worse, but the humans had gotten better at dealing with them. They had started to develop techniques, strategies, even shortcuts. Captain, Lieutenant Kim called out, I am detecting something interesting. There is a pattern to the radiation storms. They pulse in sequence like a heartbeat. Rodriguez studied the data. Can we use it? If we time it right, we can surf the radiation waves. It would increase our speed by about 30%. Do it. The fleet adjusted formation, spreading out like surfers waiting for the perfect wave. When the radiation storm hit, instead of shielding against it, they rode it. Their specially designed hulls, built to withstand the fires of atmospheric re-entry, glowed but held strong. "This is amazing," someone shouted from the Thunderchild. "It is like riding lightning." Marcus's voice came through from engineering, laughing. "The radiation is actually helping our engines. It is providing extra energy to the reaction chambers. We are going faster than we have ever gone." 16 hours in, they could see the exit of the Devil's Corridor ahead. Beyond it, clear space and the Zalathi system. They had done the impossible. They had survived what no other species could survive, but Rodriguez was not celebrating yet. She pulled up the tactical display. "All ships prepare for combat. The Devourers will detect us the moment we exit the corridor. They have never fought humans before. Let us teach them why Earth is classified as a death world." The weapons officers on all 15 ships began their preparations. Where other species had elegant energy weapons or sophisticated plasma cannons, humans had brought something different. They had brought weapons designed by a species that had spent its entire evolution finding creative ways to kill things. Kinetic weapons, charged, missile bays loaded, nuclear, warheads armed. And someone loaded the Australian special. "The Australian special?" the ensign asked. Rodriguez grinned. "Canisters filled with everything poisonous from Australia. We shoot them into enemy ships and let nature take its course." The fleet lined up for their exit from the corridor. In just 2 hours, they would reach the Zalathi homeworld. The Devourers had no idea what was coming. "Fleet," Rodriguez said over the communication, "we have just done something impossible. We flew through the Devil's Corridor and lived. Now we are going to do something else impossible. We are going to save the Zalathi. We are going to show the Devourers what happens when you threaten innocent people, and humans are close enough to do something about it." She paused, then added with that dangerous smile, "Remember, we are not the good guys. We are the necessary guys. We are the species that evolved on a planet that tries to kill us daily. We are the ones who look at impossible odds and say, 'Challenge accepted.' Today, we are going to be the monsters that monsters fear." The human fleet burst out of the Devil's Corridor like bullets from a gun. All 15 ships intact, all crews alive, and all of them ready for war. The impossible journey was over. The impossible battle was about to begin. The Devourer fleet hung over the Zalathi homeworld like a cloud of death. 47 massive harvest ships slowly sucked the life from the planet below. Their scanners detected the human fleet the moment it appeared from the Devil's Corridor. On the command ship of the Devourer fleet, Overseer Krax studied the sensor readings with his 4 eyes. His insect-like head tilted in confusion. 15 small vessels. Primitive design. Metal construction. Chemical propulsion detected. He turned to his tactical officer. Classification? Simple predator species. Threat level minimal. They appear to use kinetic weapons and basic explosives. The tactical officer's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among Devourers. "They cannot even penetrate our bioshields." Krax relaxed. "Continue the harvest. Deploy 3 interceptor swarms to destroy them. That should be more than enough." The human fleet watched as clouds of smaller Devourer ships broke away from the main fleet. Each cloud contained hundreds of fighter-sized vessels moving like angry wasps toward them. 300 enemy fighters incoming, Lieutenant Kim reported on the Relentless. "They are not even trying to use tactics. Just flying straight at us," Rodriguez smiled. "They have no idea what they are dealing with." "All ships execute Plan Crazy Human Number 4. The ensign looked confused. "Crazy Human Number 4? That is the one where we do something so stupid that it becomes brilliant," Kim explained. The human fleet suddenly accelerated to maximum speed, heading straight for the enemy fighters. But instead of preparing to fight them at range like any sensible species would do, the humans were planning something else entirely. "Drop pods ready," came the call from the Marine Bay. "Wait," the ensign said. "We are going to drop Marines? In the middle of a space battle? While moving at maximum velocity? Not just drop them," Rodriguez corrected. "We are going to fire them through the enemy formation like bullets." 2,000 drop pods launched from the human ships, each one containing a single Marine in power armor. The Devourers had never seen anything like it. What species would launch their soldiers into space during a battle? The drop pod smashed through the Devourer fighter formation at incredible speed. Most species would have been turned to paste by the acceleration. The human Marines were laughing. "Yeehaw," came the voice of Sergeant Thompson over the communications. "This is better than bungee jumping." The pods punched straight through several Devourer fighters, destroying them on impact. Then the pods opened, and the Marines emerged in space wearing armor that should not be possible. They were surviving in the vacuum of space with just powered suits. The Marine suits had magnetic boots, allowing them to land on the Devourer fighters. Then they did something that would become legend throughout the galaxy. They started ripping the fighters apart with their bare hands. The Devourer pilots could not understand what was happening. These creatures were outside their ships, in space, tearing through biometal hulls with nothing but mechanical gloves. When one Marine's rifle jammed, he simply punched through a fighter's cockpit, grabbed the pilot, and threw it at another fighter so hard both exploded. "That still only counts as one," another Marine shouted, an ancient reference the Devourers would not understand. While the Marines dealt with the fighters, the human fleet did something else impossible. They flew directly at the harvest ships and then through them. Not around them, through them. "Fire kinetics at point-blank range," Rodriguez ordered. The human ships unleashed weapons that other species had abandoned as too primitive. Simple metal rods fired at incredible speed, but when fired from point-blank range while flying at maximum velocity, they became unstoppable. The kinetic rounds punched through the Devourer bioshields like they were made of paper. The harvest ships had never been damaged like this before. Holes appeared in their hulls. Atmosphere vented. Devourer drones floated out into space, dying in the vacuum. But the humans were not done. As they passed through the enemy formation, they dropped something else. Mines. Thousands of mines that attached to the harvest ships like parasites. "Detonation in 10 seconds, Rodriguez announced. The human fleet cleared the Devourer formation just as the mines exploded. The harvest ships, already damaged from the kinetic strikes, were torn apart from the inside. 12 of the 47 were completely destroyed. Others were severely damaged. Overseer Cracks could not comprehend what he was seeing. These primitive creatures had just destroyed a quarter of his fleet in less than 3 minutes.
"How? Their threat level was minimal."
"Overseer," his science officer said with fear in his voice. "I am analyzing their biology. They are from a Class 12 death world. Impossible. Nothing survives on Class 12 worlds, and they did. Their planet has thousands of species that could kill us. They evolved fighting everything. Overseer, their children play games more dangerous than our military training." Before Cracks could respond, proximity alarms screamed. The human fleet had turned around and was coming back. This time, they were not just passing through. Drop pods launched again, but these ones were different. They were heading for the planet's surface, straight through the ongoing orbital bombardment. The pods flew through fire that would melt most metals. The humans inside were singing battle songs. Lieutenant Jake Thompson's pod hit the ground in the middle of a Devourer feeding zone. Around him, Zalathi civilians were being herded toward digestion pools. The Devourers were about to learn another fact about humans. They got angry when they saw innocent people being hurt. Thompson emerged from his pod like an ancient god of war. His armor was glowing red from the heat of entry. Steam rose from his shoulders. To the Zalathi children watching, he looked like a monster. To the Devourers, he looked like death itself. A Devourer warrior 3 times Thompson's size charged at him with claws that could tear through steel. Thompson caught the claws with his hands, holding them like they were nothing. The Devourer tried to pull away but could not. Humans had evolved on a world with gravity that would crush most species. Their strength was legendary. "You know what?" Thompson said to the Devourer, his voice broadcast through speakers. "I was going to shoot you, but you were about to hurt kids. Nobody hurts kids while I'm around." He pulled the Devourer toward him and headbutted it so hard its exoskeleton cracked. Then he picked up the 3-meter-tall alien and threw it into a digestion pool, where it dissolved in its own species' feeding acid. The other Devourers in the area started to back away. They had never encountered anything like this. Their warrior drones, bred for conquest, were running from a single human. More Marines landed. Each one immediately moved to protect civilians. Where moments before there had been certain death, now there was hope. The humans formed protective circles around groups of Zalathi, their weapons spitting death at any Devourer that came close. "This is Sergeant Williams," came a report. "I have 300 civilians secure. The Devourers will not come near us. I think we scared them. This is Corporal Chen. I have a group of Zalathi children here. Giving them chocolate. You should see their faces. Never had sugar before." Back in space, the battle continued. The Devourer fleet tried to regroup, but the humans would not let them. Every time the harvest ships tried to form a battle line, the human fleet would do something insane. They flew through asteroid fields and led the Devourers into them. They used their own ships as rams. One human captain actually had his crew evacuate, then flew his empty ship directly into a harvest ship's engine, causing a chain reaction that destroyed 3 more. "Overseer," the tactical officer screamed. "We have lost 60% of our fleet. The ground forces are in full retreat. These humans are not normal. They are enjoying this." It was true. The human communication channels were full of laughter, jokes, and someone was apparently keeping score of who could destroy enemies in the most creative way. "Bonus points if you make them explode in pretty colors," someone suggested. "Does using their own weapons against them count as ironic or just funny?" Another asked. Overseer Krax made a decision that no Devourer leader had made in 1,000 years. "Full retreat. All ships abandon the harvest, run." But the humans were not going to let them go that easily. Rodriguez's voice came over an open channel that the Devourers could hear. "Attention, Devourer fleet. This is Captain Rodriguez of the United Earth Fleet. You came here to destroy an innocent world. You came here to kill children. You made a mistake. You did it where we could stop you." She paused, then continued. Run fast and run far. Tell every Devourer in the galaxy what happened here. Tell them that humans protect the innocent. Tell them that we are the thing that monsters fear. And if you ever come near another innocent world, we will find you. We will stop you. And next time, we will not let any of you escape to tell the tale." The remaining Devourer ships fled, jumping to faster-than-light speed as quickly as their damaged engines could manage. They left behind thousands of dead, dozens of destroyed ships, and something they had never left before: defeat. On the planet's surface, Thompson removed his helmet and knelt down next to a Zalathi child who was crying. The child had lost his parents in the attack. Thompson, the same Marine who had just torn apart alien warriors with his bare hands, gently picked up the child. "Hey there, little guy. You are safe now." The Devourer fleet had made a fatal mistake. In their panic to escape, they had left behind several damaged ships and thousands of warrior drones on the planet's surface. These Devourers, cut off from their fleet, decided to try one last desperate attack. They would use their greatest weapon, the one that had ended civilizations. Deep in the crashed remains of a harvest ship, Warrior Prime Thax prepared the biological weapons. Spore canisters that contained the most deadly pathogens the Devourers had collected over centuries of consuming worlds. Each canister held death in microscopic form. "Release them all," Thax ordered. "If we cannot have this world, we will make sure nothing can live on it." The spores spread across the battlefield like an invisible cloud of doom. They had killed the mighty Altari in minutes. They had ended the Mokari resistance in hours. No species had ever survived exposure to the full cocktail of Devourer biological weapons. The first Marine to notice something was wrong was Private Johnson. His suit's sensors started screaming alerts. Biological contamination detected. Unknown pathogens. Concentration levels extreme. Captain Rodriguez received the alert on her ship. "All ground forces, seal your suits. We have biological weapons deployed." But something strange happened. The Marines sealed their suits, but after a few minutes they started laughing. Captain?" Sergeant Thompson's voice came through. "My suit's medical system analyzed the pathogens. You are not going to believe this." "Report, Sergeant. These biological weapons are weaker than Earth's common cold. My suit says the closest match is something called hay fever. The medical computer is actually asking if I want an antihistamine." Dr. Patricia Lee, the fleet's chief medical officer, was studying the data from her lab on the Relentless. She could not stop laughing. "Captain, I need you to understand what is happening here. The Devourer's ultimate biological weapon, the thing that has killed entire civilizations, would barely make a human sneeze." "Explain, Doctor." "Earth is basically a biological weapon factory. We have bacteria that eat metal. We have viruses that can survive in space. We have fungi that mind control insects. Our children play in dirt that contains more deadly organisms than most planets have in total. The Devourers just tried to kill us with something our bodies would not even notice. Rodriguez smiled that dangerous smile again. Dr. Lee, can we return the favor? What do you mean, Captain? I mean, do we have any Earth bacteria we could share with our Devourer friends? Nothing deadly to us, of course. Just something educational. Dr. Lee's grin could be heard in her voice. Oh, Captain, I have just the thing. Give me 10 minutes. On the planet's surface, the Devourers could not understand why the humans were not dying. Warrior Prime Thax watched through his scanner as the human Marines continued fighting, completely unaffected by enough pathogens to kill 1 billion normal creatures. Then the humans started throwing canisters back. What are they doing? A Devourer warrior asked. The canisters broke open, releasing Earth bacteria into the air. Not weapons-grade bacteria, not specially designed killing machines. Just normal, everyday Earth bacteria, E. coli, streptococcus, the kind of things humans lived with. Every day of their lives, the effect on the Devourers was immediate and devastating. Their bodies had never encountered anything like Earth bacteria. They had no defenses, no immunity, no resistance. Devourers started collapsing, their bodies unable to cope with organisms that human children carried around without even noticing. Retreat! Thax screamed, but it was too late. The bacteria were spreading faster than they could run. Warrior drones that had conquered worlds fell to their knees, defeated by something humans considered harmless. Thompson walked through the battlefield, stepping over writhing Devourers. He activated his external speakers. This is what you need to understand. We did not come here as conquerors. We came here as protectors, but you tried to use biological weapons against us. You tried to kill innocent people with disease. He stopped next to Warrior Prime Thax, who was on the ground, his body fighting a losing battle against a stomach bacteria that most humans carried without symptoms. We could kill you all right now. Our common cold would end your species, but we are not like you. We are going to give you something you never gave your victims. A chance, Dr. Lee's voice came over the communications. All Marines administer the antibiotics to the Devourers. Save as many as you can. The Marines moved through the battlefield, injecting fallen Devourers with antibiotics designed to fight Earth bacteria. It was surreal. The same humans who had been tearing Devourers apart an hour ago were now saving their lives. Thax looked up at Thompson through all 4 eyes, confused and afraid. Why? Why save us? Thompson knelt down beside him. Because that is what makes us different from you. We can be monsters when we need to be, but we choose not to be. We choose to be better. Your biological weapons failed because we come from a world that tries to kill us with disease every day. But we learned to fight disease, not with more disease, but with medicine, with healing. As the antibiotics took effect, Thax and his warriors slowly recovered. They sat or lay on the ground, too weak to fight, too shocked to run. They had been defeated not just by human strength, but by human mercy. In space, Admiral Rodriguez was having a conversation with the Galactic Council. They had been watching everything through long-range sensors. Captain Rodriguez, Forthak's voice was shaky. The Devourers used their biological weapons, the same weapons that ended the Altari civilization. And your people laughed? Council leader, Earth has things living in it that would terrify you. We have diseases that jump from animals to humans just for fun. We have bacteria that survive in nuclear reactors. We evolved alongside these things. What the Devourers think of as ultimate weapons, we think of as mild inconveniences. And you saved them, after they tried to kill you with disease? Of course we saved them. They needed to live to tell others what happened here. They need to spread the word that humans are not to be messed with, but also that we are not monsters. We are gardeners, and sometimes weeds need to be pulled. But we would rather help things grow. The Sakari representative spoke up. Captain, the recordings show your Marines were enjoying the battle. They were keeping score. Someone was singing. Rodriguez laughed. Have you ever heard of adrenaline? Humans have a chemical that floods our bodies during danger. It makes us stronger, faster, and a little bit crazy. We literally get high on danger. It is one of the ways we survived our death world. We became the kind of species that runs toward danger instead of away from it. Back on the planet, the Zalathi were starting to emerge from their shelters. They found their world saved, their enemies defeated, and their saviors doing something incredible. The human Marines were helping rebuild. They were using their power armor to lift debris. They were sharing their food with hungry families. The medical teams were treating injured Zalathi with the same care they would give to humans. A Zalathi elder approached Thompson, who was helping to clear a collapsed building. You saved us. You came through the impossible corridor. You defeated the undefeatable. You survived their plagues. What are you? Thompson put down the beam he was carrying and thought for a moment. We are humans. We are a species that probably should not exist. Our planet had every reason to kill us, but we were too stubborn to die. We learned to take poisons and turn them into medicines. We learned to take predators and turn them into pets. We learned to take a death world and turn it into a home. The Elder's translator struggled with the next question. Are you gods? Thompson laughed, a warm, friendly sound. No, we are definitely not gods. We are just people who got really good at surviving impossible things. Your distress call said you had children who needed help. That was all we needed to hear. We have children, too. We know what it is like to want them safe. The Elder looked around at the destroyed Devourer equipment, the saved civilians, the Marines playing with Zalathi children. Will you stay? Will you protect us? We will stay until you are safe, Thompson promised. We will help you rebuild. We will teach you how to defend yourselves. And we will make sure the entire galaxy knows that the Zalathi are under human protection. Nobody will hurt you again. As the sun set on the Zalathi homeworld, it set on a changed galaxy. The Devourer's survivors were loaded onto a single functioning ship, cured of Earth bacteria but forever changed. They would carry the message to their species. Humans were not to be underestimated. Humans were not to be challenged. And most importantly, humans protected the innocent. The biological weapons that had ended 17 civilizations had failed against a species from a world where everything was trying to kill them all the time. The humans had not just won a military victory. They had proven that their death world had made them into something unique. Something that could be terrible or kind, monstrous or merciful, depending on what the situation needed. As Thompson helped a Zalathi child find her parents, he thought about Earth, about the world that had made humans what they were. It was a world full of danger, disease, and death, but it was also a world full of life, determination, and the stubborn refusal to give up. The Devourers had learned the hard way that when you threatened the innocent, you might summon the humans. And humans from a death world did not just bring death. The Galactic Council chamber was fuller than it had ever been. Representatives from every known civilized species had come to witness something that had never happened before. The Devourers, the terror of the galaxy for 1,000 years, had sent an official representative to surrender. But first, the Zalathi would speak. A small Zalathi child walked to the center of the chamber. It was Jixi, the child that Thompson had comforted after the battle. He carried something in his small hands. Behind him walked his parents, alive because human Marines had pulled them from a digestion pool moments before it would have been too late. Jixi's voice was small but clear through the translator. The human Marines gave me this. He held up a simple patch from a Marine uniform. It showed Earth with the words, "No better friend, no worse enemy," written around it. They said it was their promise, that they would always protect those who needed protecting. He looked around the chamber at hundreds of different species. The humans are scary. When they came down from the sky, I thought they were monsters. They broke Devourer warriors like toys. They laughed while doing impossible things. But then the fighting stopped, and the same hands that broke our enemies picked us up gently. The same warriors who brought death brought chocolate, and medicine and hope. The child walked over to the human section and stood in front of Ambassador Chen. My mother asks if all humans are like the ones who saved us. Are all humans heroes? Chen knelt down to be at eye level with the child. Her voice was gentle. No, little one. We are not all heroes. We are just people who come from a dangerous place. That dangerous place taught us to be strong, but it also taught us that the strong should protect the weak. It is not heroic. It is just right. Jixi hugged the human ambassador, surprising everyone, including Chen. Then he returned to his parents, still clutching the Marine patch. Now it was time for the Devourer representative to speak. Warrior Prime Thax entered the chamber. He moved slowly, carefully. The mighty Devourer who had led armies looked broken. Not physically. The human medicine had healed him. But mentally, spiritually, he was a changed being. I come to surrender, he said simply. Not just this battle. Not just this war. The Devourer Empire officially surrenders to humanity and accepts whatever terms they demand. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The Devourers had never surrendered to anyone. Tell them why, Rodriguez said from where she stood with the human delegation. Thax's 4 eyes focused on her. Because we cannot fight you. Not because of your weapons or your ships or your strength. Because of what you are. He paused, gathering his thoughts. We are predators. We understand predators. We know how to fight them, defeat them, consume them. But humans are not just predators. You are something we have no word for. He turned to address the entire council. When we deployed our biological weapons that had ended civilizations, the humans laughed. Their bodies treated our greatest weapons like minor irritations. When we tried to kill them with disease, they responded by healing us. They could have let us die. They could have used their own diseases to end our entire species. Instead, they gave us medicine. Thax pulled up a holographic display. This is Earth, the human homeworld. My scientists have studied it. It should not support life. It has hurricanes that can destroy cities. It has earthquakes that reshape continents. It has temperatures that range from freezing to boiling. It has millions of species that can kill. It has diseases that would end most civilizations. Yet humans do not just survive there. They thrive there. They love it there. The display showed images of Earth, humans climbing mountains for fun, swimming with predators, jumping from aircraft with fabric wings, running marathons through deserts. They do these things for enjoyment, Thax said in disbelief. They seek out danger for fun. Their children play games that would kill our warriors. They consume poisons like alcohol and capsaicin for pleasure. They keep predators as pets. They inject themselves with weakened diseases to become stronger. He looked directly at the human delegation. We tried to fight monsters from a death world. We did not understand that the monsters had chosen to be gardeners. They could destroy everything, but they choose to protect and nurture. That is why we surrender. Not from fear, though we are afraid. We surrender from respect and from hope that they will teach us to be better. Ambassador Chen stood up. The human government has discussed our terms. They are simple. The Devourers will cease all consumption of inhabited worlds. You will return any preserved genetic material from species you have destroyed, so we can attempt to bring them back. You will share your technology with the galaxy for peaceful purposes, and you will help rebuild the worlds you have damaged. That is all? Vorthak asked in surprise. No punishment? No execution of leaders? No dismantling of their fleet? Punishment teaches fear, Rodriguez said. Mercy teaches change. We want the Devourers to become better, not just beaten. They will keep their fleet, but it will be used for protection, not predation. Human advisors will work with them to change their culture from consumers to contributors. And if they refuse? If they return to their old ways? Someone asked. Thompson, who had come to the council for this meeting, stood up. His voice was calm but carried across the entire chamber. Then they will learn why Earth is classified as a death world. They will learn what humans are like when we stop being nice. They have seen us protecting innocent people. They do not want to see us truly angry. The vote was unanimous. The terms were accepted. The Devourer Empire would transform or face the combined response of humanity and its allies. After the formal proceedings, the chamber became a place of conversation. Species that had feared each other were talking, united by their shared awe and terror of humanity. A young Altani approached Thompson. Is it true that you have animals on Earth that you cannot defeat? That you just have to avoid? Thompson laughed. Oh yeah. Drop bears for one. Then there are cassowaries, basically modern dinosaurs. And do not even get me started on geese. Pure evil with wings. You defeated the Devourers but fear a bird? You have not met a goose. They have no fear, no mercy, and they remember faces. I would rather fight 10 Devourers than one angry goose. Across the chamber, Chen was talking with Vorthak. What will humanity do now? Will you police the galaxy? No, Chen said. We will go back to exploring, to learning, to growing. But we will also be watching. We have set up monitoring stations. We have defense agreements with species that want them. We will not rule, but we will protect. The galaxy sees you differently now. You are not just the species from a death world. You are the species that conquered a death world and chose to be kind. Chen smiled. We had a writer on Earth who once said, in a gentle way you can shake the world. We prefer being gentle. But when gentle does not work, we can shake the world in other ways too. The meeting ended with something unprecedented. The Zalati child, Zixi, had asked to say one more thing. He stood in the center of the chamber holding a small device. The humans taught us a song, he said. They said it was about their home, about how dangerous it is but how much they love it anyway. They said it explains humans better than anything else. The device played a recording of human Marines singing. It was an old Earth song about surviving, about getting knocked down and getting back up, about facing the storm and surviving. As it played, every human in the chamber started singing along, their voices joining in harmony. When it ended, Shixi spoke again. The humans come from a world that tries to kill them, but instead of becoming killers, they became protectors. Instead of spreading death, they spread life. They took the worst place in the galaxy to live and called it home. Then they loved it so much they would cross impossible distances to protect others. The child looked around at all the species present. The humans have a saying. They told me it when I was scared. They said, "We are not the heroes you wanted, but we are the monsters you need." I did not understand then. Now I do. Sometimes the galaxy needs monsters, but only the right kind of monsters. The kind that protect children. The kind that heal enemies. The kind that laugh at death and share chocolate with strangers. As the council dispersed, the galaxy had changed. The Devourers were beginning their transformation under human guidance. The Zelathi were rebuilding with human help. Other species were starting to understand that humans were not conquerors or rulers. They were the galaxy's emergency response team. The ones you called when things were impossible. Word spread across every communication channel, every trade route, every diplomatic corridor. The message was simple but profound. If you were in trouble, if you faced extinction, if you had children who needed protecting, send a signal. The humans would come. They would fly through impossible dangers. They would fight impossible odds. They would do impossible things, because humans were from Earth, a death world that had taught them the most important lesson in the universe. That life was precious exactly because it was fragile. That strength meant nothing if it was not used to protect the weak. That being a monster was only acceptable if you were a monster in defense of those who could not defend themselves. The galaxy had gained something it had never had before. Hope. Hope that came from the most unlikely source, a species from a world classified as uninhabitable.